Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Reviewing All Comers podcast. I am E.T. Eric Tyler Mullins, the general manager of SVBW. Joining me tonight is Jared Weathers. Jared, how you doing, brother?
I am doing all right, man. How are you?
Doing great, man. This has been one that I've really been looking forward to for a while. Probably one of my favorite takeovers, if not my favorite one, especially for the last two matches, simply because it's just, it's historic. It's really the biggest crowd that NXT had ever been in front of at that point. It's just historic. So it's going to be a fun show, really, to look back on, talk about, and discuss.
I agree.
Yes, sir. So let's start off with what happened at the beginning. They had a NXT taping there before the takeover event took place. After the taping had took place for the 8/26 NXT show on August 26, 2015 for WWE Network, Triple H come out and addressed the crowd. He asked how many fans were from the UK. Well, this didn't get a good reception. A lot of the arena booed, but then he mentioned that they would be going abroad and NXT would be going on the road for the first time overseas, and they would have a tour of the United Kingdom. So that was very historic for the NXT UK brand, and really led to another one of my favorite takeovers later on. That would be the NXT Takeover London show. So a lot of fun there, no doubt about it. Show opens. We'll talk about this first match here. Jushin Thunder Liger is in action in the first match. He takes on Tyler Breeze. And Jared, since it's just me and you, I'll let you have the floor for this match, and I'll let you give your thoughts on
it. All right. So obviously, so I haven't seen the show before. I've heard about it. I've maybe seen a couple clips of it, but I have not seen this show in its entirety. So having the promo, going from the promo from Triple H, and going right into the Tyler Breeze entrance was very odd for me, just the way that they kind of did it. And I forgot Jushin Thunder Liger was on the show. But basically, all my notes for this one is Breeze comes out to some fanfare, but when Liger makes his way to the ring, to a huge pop. Breeze is playing with Liger until he hits Breeze with his own corner pose, which I thought was very funny. Liger gave him two surfboards, pins, and wins. It was a good match. I liked it.
That is true. Jushin Thunder Liger defeated Tyler Breeze in 8 minutes 38 seconds. Crowd was very hot for this as a pay-per-view opener. Meltzer gives this 2 stars. He says Liger's usage of the upside down sunflower was identified by Rich Brennan, one of his big moves. We know it as the Romero special now. Liger laid out Breeze and used the selfie stick to take a selfie. Liger did far less here than he would do for a normal New Japan Pro Wrestling show or even a match in ROH. Some funny back and forth chants during the match in the crowd. Liger used a rolling body block off the apron, a palm thrust, and then hit a running Liger bomb for the pin. Meltzer gives this 2 stars. I would about agree with that. I would do a little better. I would say this match is around 6 stars, or not 6 stars, but 6 out of 10. So I would give it around a 3 on the Meltzer scale.
Right. I went kind of the same. I went 8 out of 10. I'm a Breeze mark, to be quite honest with you. But I did say should have gave Liger a higher caliber opponent. Just simply because Tyler Breeze at this time is not the Tyler Breeze we know today.
Yeah, that's very true. And, Jushin Thunder Liger's one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, not only in New Japan Pro Wrestling, but really throughout the world as a whole. He's been WCW, Impact, ROH, New Japan, like I mentioned before. He's been everywhere, and this was a cool moment for the crowd. So I think this was a very fun opener, and I think the right opener. But I'm kind of with you. Jushin Thunder Liger needed a better opponent here to really get his best usage out. Not taking anything away from Tyler Breeze, Tyler Hideo Itami earlier in the year in 2015. So he was the right guy to have it. But I'm with you. Liger needed to have a better opponent for this opener. Next part of this, the NWO shown in the crowd. Meltzer notes that the NWO would be in this crowd for this shot only, and they would leave the building immediately after this was shown. So this was just a television appearance. It wasn't anything more than that. They weren't going to be in the crowd for a while. And then Nia Jax cuts a promo on becoming one of the newest members of the NXT roster. Really one of the worst signings that Triple H has ever made, just my opinion.
I agree.
But hey, we'll move on from that. Oh, goodness. Anyway. I'm telling you, man. Nia's just don't want to sound bad in saying this, but she can be a poison sometimes. As bad as that sounds.
Yeah, well, she did do one good thing.
Let's
she made
move on
Becky
from
Lynch
that.
a good babyface.
That's very true. That's very true. She definitely did, and she brought out. She really made the man character into what it would become. No doubt about it. So that's a great point, Jared. I'll give you that. No doubt about it. The next match on NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 1 is one that kind of holds a very special place in my heart. It's the Vaudevillains, which is Aiden English and Simon Gotch, against Blake and Murphy, the NXT Tag Team Champions at the time, with Alexa Bliss. I'll go ahead and read my notes here for this match, since I'll let Jared go first. In the first match, I'll read here. Alexa Bliss says that the Vaudevillains couldn't find a woman who would want to help them out. Both were wearing blue pants as a signal. And here comes Leva Bates, FKA Blue Pants, to the ring with them. Alexa Bliss went for a distraction, but Blue Pants would cut her off to the apron and hit a spear to Bliss on the outside. English used a spinning neck breaker on Murphy, and Gotch pinned him. This move is known as the Whirling Dervish now. Bliss has a shot at becoming a real superstar or manager in the future, Meltzer wrote at this time, and she would be. She would be, no doubt about it. Meltzer rated this 2 1/4 star. I think for the pop for Leva Bates coming out with Blue Pants coming out with the Vaudevillains, I think that's a spot that really holds a great portion of my heart, because I really loved that. I thought that really added a great portion to that rivalry at the time. We really didn't know what we was getting with Gotch and English at that point, but it really added a new realm to their character. I do a little bit better on this one too from Meltzer. I'll say this one is around a 7 out of 10, simply because this was a fun title change, that not a lot of people would expect. So I give this one a 7 out of 10. What do you say on this one, Jared?
So, I in my notes I said Alexa has some choice words for Gotch in English, saying no one wants to help them. Then Blue Pants comes out. The match starts off with Blake and Gotch, eventually turns into a Tower of Doom spot, but only Blake and Murphy go down. English does a Swanton bomb and goes for a pin. Murphy kicked out. Alexa tries to get involved, but Blue Pants stopped her. English pins and wins the tag team gold. I give it a 9 out of 10. I thought the match was very good. And I said, I'm so glad Lee was in AEW. So I don't like that Blue Pants character.
That is, yeah. Yep, that is true. That is true. Not much more to add to that, really. I think you're spot on.
Thank you.
I'll change a lot, but it wouldn't be the only one on the show. We'll get into that later. Okay, the next matchup would be Apollo Crews and Ty Dillinger. Jared, I'll let you go ahead and start on this one. This was kind of a short match here. I think it was really a enhancement type of match for Crews. What say you on this?
I sort of agree. So in my notes I said Ty does a cartwheel and there's so many headlocks, while Crews does a cartwheel and a backflip. Drop kick by Ty to Crews while Apollo was in the air. Lots of headlocks. Crews goes for a pin, but kick out by Ty. Dillinger goes for 2 covers, but he didn't get it. Ty went for a super kick, but missed. Crews hit a standing enziguri, hit a gorilla press, and a standing shooting star. Pins and wins.
Yep. Meltzer rated this one 1.5 stars. He said nothing to this squash really than to put Crews over here. He pressed him overhead, then dropped him, and hit a standing moonsault to get the pin in this match. Crews won it in 4:41. So a short match here after the title change there between Vaudevillains and Blake and Murphy. I say this one is right around a 5 out of 10. I can't do much better than that. I think Crews looked really strong, the spots that he hit, and that's about as much as I can go with it.
I went a little more. I gave it an 8 out of 10, and I said I like to see heel Apollo versus heel Shawn Spears. I think that'd be a good match to see.
Right. So next up on the show, NXT General Manager William Regal thanked the American Dream Dusty Rhodes, who had passed away sadly the month before, and they would honor his legacy with the creation of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic starting in September of that year on NXT. And this has been a mainstay on the show since. And I think, honestly, this has been one of the best things that was created by NXT at the time, honestly. What's your thoughts on the Dusty Classic, Jared?
I think I've seen a few matches from it. It's pretty good. I think it's a good way to remember Dusty, because Dusty, I don't think a lot of people know this, he really was a tag team wrestler back in the day. He did have a lot of solo stuff, but he also had a lot of tag team stuff, and I think that's a really good way to honor him, to honor his legacy.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. And like you said, a lot of people don't remember how good Dusty was as a tag team wrestler because a lot of people remember him for his singles run. And that's understandable. I can get that. The man was a 3-time world champion and, competed in a lot of different companies around the world, most notably for NWA/WCW. But I think this was a great thing they done here, no doubt about it. Oh, here comes Logan Price's favorite wrestler, Jared. You know who I'm talking about right here. Samoa Joe versus the lone wolf himself, Baron Corbin. Yes, sir. Meltzer rated this one 2 3/4 stars. Go ahead and read his notes here from this match. He says this was the best TV or pay-per-view match that Baron Corbin had up to this point in NXT. Joe used a half crab into a crossface, but Corbin reversed it into a heel hook. Corbin went for the pin with a big power slam, but Joe got out of it. Samoa Joe would lock in the Coquina clutch to make him tap out and make him pass out. He did not submit. He passed out to the Coquina clutch. And this match was 10 minutes, 22 seconds. Meltzer rated this one 2 3/4 stars. I'm going to go a little higher on that simply because I think Joe really was working hard at this point to, make Corbin look good. Joe can make anybody look good. For a bigger guy like that to have agility the way that he does going into the ring, competing with somebody like Corbin, who at this point was a little green. But brought out the best in Corbin here. I'll give this one an 8 out of 10. I'll let you go with your thoughts on this match.
In my notes, I said Joe tries to go for an arm submission, but Corbin got out of that. Joe went for the Coquina clutch, but Corbin left the ring. Irish Rip reversed by Joe, dropkick by Joe, and Corbin went over the top. Suicide dive attempt, but Corbin stopped Joe and went for a pin, but didn't get it. Single leg Boston Crab into a crossface. Corbin gets his leg on the rope. Corbin dumps Joe out of the ring. Heel hook by Corbin gets to a 4 count. Super kick by Corbin into an insecurity by Joe. Coquina clutch makes Corbin pass out, which again, he did not tap. He passed out. I give it a 10 out of 10. I thought Corbin was doing probably the best work he's done in a long time. Obviously, Joe, like you said, he can make anyone look good. Joe is, one of the best wrestlers working today. So I gave 10 out of 10. Yeah.
Oh. Well, that's good thoughts there, Jared. I agree with that simply for the reason, Corbin really didn't have a lot of match work at that time. He got to compete on some matches in NXT, of course. But I'm kind of with Meltzer here. I agree. I think that was his best matchup for that point, simply because I didn't get to see a lot of Joe at that time. But when Corbin, excuse me, and it was a good match. I enjoyed it. So, and the right person won. So there you go.
I agree. Yes.
The next segment up was kind of historic. Kana, a Japanese women's wrestling star, was shown in the crowd and within the audience, and they let the people know that she is signed in NXT. This is significant to build up the women's division. This was a turning point for the women's division here, as we would get to here momentarily. This was a very interesting signing and one that I liked a lot. So it's a good move, no doubt about it. What was your thoughts on this signing here?
I didn't get to see a lot of her outside of WWE. For what she's done, up to this point, I think it was a good signing. I think her character could be a little better, but I mean, you can't deny in-ring work.
Absolutely not. And here comes probably my match of the night, no doubt about it. And this was Meltzer's match of the night as well. Meltzer rated this one 4.5 stars. Bayley versus Sasha Banks for the NXT Women's Championship. Jared, I'll let you start with your notes. Go ahead, give me your thoughts on this match.
So first, before I do the match, I want to talk about the promo that came before this. So I put Stephanie McMahon comes out and tells us how many people are in the building tonight. Man, she does love to recite numbers to us, because if you guys don't know, earlier for this pay-per-view calendar year, me and Jake, we reviewed WrestleMania 31, which she also came out and told us how many people are in that building as well. So I feel like she just likes reciting numbers, honestly.
Right.
But before this match, I have to agree this is a very good match. I wouldn't say this was my match of the night. I would say it's one of my 3 matches of the night because it was so good. But in my notes I say starts with a takedown by Bayley, sliding clothesline. Sasha Banks smashing Bayley's head into the turnbuckle, turns into a tree of woe and a guillotine elbow drop. Arm drag and Sasha out of the ring. Sasha went for double knees but missed. Straight jacket submission to Bayley, throws her in the corner. Double knees off the top shelf, as they said on commentary. Corkscrew hanging arm off the rope. Sasha takes off Bayley's tape and smashes her hand in between the stairs. That was Sasha flies over the ref and over the rope onto Bayley. Banks went for old school, but Bayley threw her onto the floor. Bayley tries for the deadlift suplex, didn't get it, but Sasha puts her in the bank statement, but Bayley reversed it into her own bank statement. Bayley tries for the Frankensteiner, but Sasha pushes her, and Bayley fell on her head. Meteora onto Bayley, reverse Frankensteiner into a Bayley to belly, pins and wins the NXT Women's Championship.
Yeah, for me, that ending sequence of this match was really one that I thought that they done absolutely to perfection. You know, they played out Bayley's hand injury in the match. You know, Sasha, to her credit, was keeping on stomping on that hand, and wearing her out, and having her in the bank statement. But Bayley, to her credit, she got out of it, and both these women would go up to the top, and I think Sasha was going to try to go for a side suplex from the top. Bayley reversed it into the Frankensteiner, and then hit the Bayley to belly for the pin. Meltzer writes here, Bayley pinned Sasha Banks in 18 minutes, 16 seconds. This match seemed like it lasted longer than that, and that's a good thing for these 2 women. That's no knock on them, to become the NXT Women's Champion. The end of the match, all 4 horsewomen would get into the ring with each other and praise both Banks and Bayley for their hard work. This, at the time, and for me, still holds up as my favorite NXT Women's Championship match of all time. Just the fluidity of all the moves by both women was amazing. Meltzer rates this one 4.5 stars. For me, it was a home run, 10 out of 10, just for the story it told. For Bayley to capture her first women's championship here in NXT, doing it against the woman who had been the standard, the blueprint now, she knows herself, Sasha Banks. She was the boss at that time. I give this one a 10 out of 10. I mean, I can't see it being anything less than that. That's just my humble opinion. Jared, what's your grading for this match here?
So I have to agree with you. I rated 10 out of 10.
And get into the main event.
Yeah, I rated 10 out of 10. I said I respect Sasha even more than I already do. I think this match is probably one of the best matches she ever put on, and that's including all the Raw Women's Championship matches her and Charlotte had in 2017. So.
Very true. Very well said. And then, of course, both of these women would go on to the main roster Sasha just shortly after this. We would have a 30-minute Iron Woman match later on that next month on NXT, which is another great match in and of itself. And it was a lot of fun to watch this and reminisce on it. One of my favorite NXT Women's Championship matches ever, no doubt about it. And I give both of these women a lot of credit for still being at the level that they are. And it's funny you mentioned WrestleMania 31 earlier, that you and Jake had reviewed, and they had a women's tag team match, if I'm not mistaken. It was the Bella Twins against AJ Lee and Paige, and Paige is probably my favorite NXT Women's Diva. That's right, Divas Championship. Yes, sir. Had to do it once. I won't get on to you because that's exactly what it was. Jake's not here, so we can get away with it.
That's right. That's true.
Oh,
that's true.
God. Yeah, Jake's not here.
Oh man.
Oh man. The butterfly title. Oh man.
God.
Which that women's tag team match at WrestleMania 31, it was okay because it had the Bella Twins in it, but obviously AJ Lee and Paige carried it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But this women's NXT Women's Championship match is a classic, and I definitely recommend it for any wrestling fan who enjoys the work of the Four Horsewomen to seek out and watch this match. No doubt about it.
I agree.
Now we move on to another one of my favorite matches, and this is the main event. It's for the NXT Championship. Finn Balor against Kevin Owens. Of course, Finn Balor would defeat Kevin Owens at the Beast in the East show on Independence Day in 2015 to become the NXT champion for the first time. And this had a great story for this match, too, with it being in a ladder match. Meltzer rated this 4 1/4 stars. I'll read off some of his notes here. He says, Balor came off the guardrail, but overshot Owens and then threw him over the announce table. Owens pulled out a ladder, but Balor would get up from off the announce table with the drop kick to the ladder onto Owens. Balor used a running flip dive on Owens and then climbed up the ladder on Owens, but Owens would cut him off with a drop kick to his back, and that would knock him off the ladder. Owens would then go for a power bomb onto the apron, but Balor would reverse it and counter. Balor hit the double foot stomp standing, then climbed the ladder, but Owens cut him off with a power bomb from the ladder to the apron of the ring. Owens would go for a superplex onto a pile of ladders, but Balor countered, and he would hit a coup de grace from the top of the ladder. This would be enough for the win, and he would regain and retain the NXT championship here. What a match between these two men. I'll say this for these two, man. Whenever I see Finn Balor and Kevin Owens on a marquee having a match with each other, you know you're going to get your money's worth. Like this rivalry here for the NXT Championship is something that I truly respect a lot from both of these men. I truthfully loved watching this match again because it just shows me how good both these men are, and sadly, it shows to me just how far they have been lost in the shuffle in the last few years since being on the main roster. And of course, Balor, in his own right, went on to become the NXT champion once again here last year in 2020, lost to Karrion Kross. Owens would become a Universal Champion, Intercontinental Champion, U.S. Champion, have a lot of great accomplishments on his own right. Both these men are definitely main event talents, in my opinion. and it's a lot of fun to watch this match. I'll score it here in just a minute. Jared, give me your thoughts on this match.
I wrote a lot for this. I agree. I thought this match was really good. I don't want to read all of it, but I mean, everything that you read is what happened. I will say though, actually, what I'm gonna let you rate it first, and then I'll give some more thoughts on it. So go ahead and rate it.
Well, much like the last match between Bayley and Sasha Banks, I don't see how this match couldn't get 10 out of 10 either, simply for the story it told. Of course, Kevin Owens would stay on the main roster after this match here. This would be, I believe, his final match in NXT, if I'm not mistaken. And Balor would go on to reign over NXT for the next several months. And I give this one a 10 out of 10. I just have to. I think it was a great match that absolutely deserves it and told a fantastic story.
I would have given it 10 out of 10. I gave it 9 out of 10, so still, pretty high in the upper echelon there. I said Owen should have won. I think the story was prime for him to retain. I understand. Not probably not, I don't think retain, but to win the championship one more time before he left. I understand why they didn't have him, because again, as you said, he went to the main roster. This was his last match in NXT. But I really think that the story that they were telling really had that Owens needs to win this match kind of thing. I think that if they would have told it a little differently, I would have had a different. I would probably expecting something else, but I was definitely expecting Owens to win this match. So.
Yeah, man, it was a fun match to watch, and really one that I do have a lot of respect for. To have two over 4-star matches on this show from Meltzer, I think it's a really important thing to look at too. It's not often you see that happen for a main WWE show, much less at that point in NXT, who really hadn't had the they had some great takeovers at Full Sail, but like I mentioned earlier in the show, this was their first big time arena crowd, and for them to put on this caliber of a show for the fans, I think 6 matches total, lasted a little over 2.5 hours. Just kind of had that old school feeling of a pay-per-view from like the Ruthless Aggression era, something like that. That's about the best kind of praise I can give for it.
What is your letter grade for this show overall?
My letter grade overall for this would be, I'm not going to give it a full-on A, because there's some things I felt like there could have been done better, especially Juice and Thunder Liger. I agree with you on that point. I give it an A-. But the last 2 matches, absolutely must see if you're a fan of the old school NXT product. Go watch it.
Jesus. I agree. However, even though I rated all these pretty highly, even though they probably don't deserve it, I did rate a lot of these highly. Nothing under 8. So I had to give it an A+. So I really like this show. I'm really excited to do some more NXT.
Yeah.
But you know what? How about you tell what's coming up next week there, ET?
Yes, sir. Coming up next week here on the Reviewing All Comers podcast, It will be an Attitude Era pay-per-view classic, as we will be reviewing St. Valentine's Day Massacre from the year 1999 on February 14th, 1999. This show takes place in Memphis, Tennessee, the home of the great Jerry the King Lawler. And, of course, it was main evented by Stone Cold Steve Austin and Vince McMahon in the old school black steel cage. Really looking forward to that one, man. Should be a lot of fun to watch that show and look back and read on it, too.
And of course, the show after that is the special episode that you will all find out after next week's show. Stay tuned for that.
Yes, sir. Episode 10.
It's gonna be a good one. All right, ET. How about you take us out and say good night, or say, well, it probably won't be night when they listen to this, but you know what I mean.
I got you, brother. Ladies and gentlemen, for Jared Weathers and the Weathers Media Comp, my name is E.T. Tyler Mullins. I'm the general manager of SVBW. Check us out on our YouTube channel, Southwest Virginia Backyard Wrestling. Check out all the Weathers Media platforms, ladies and gentlemen, not only here on YouTube, but of course on all of your social media websites and platforms and whatever you want to watch. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Bubba Ty1, capital B, capital T. Check out my podcast, ET Considers Everything. It's a great show. I'm on my episode number 103 this week. The 100th episode of the podcast was absolutely amazing. Jared wrote in something for the show that really meant a lot to me, and it was really cool. And I appreciated him for that. And appreciate him for this platform to be on here to review all these classic pay-per-views. And we look forward to doing more of them for you, ladies and gentlemen. But until next time, my name's E.T. Eric Tyler Mullins for Jared Weathers and all of us here at Reviewing All Comers. Have a good one, everybody. Thanks for watching. Peace out.